It's break time. Welcome to our newest episode. It's your co-host, Rissy Ray,
Hey.
and yours truly, Kaninja. So today we're going to give you another vaccine update.
Oh yeah.
So I know a lot of our different episodes, every now and then, we'll drop in another vaccine update because, hey, why not? Vaccine is ever changing, and opinions are ever changing or not at the same time. That's why I said or not. So with that, Rissy, I think you got some facts for us during our break.
Yes, so we're just coming in real quick. So last time, we talked about vaccines. We all know that Kaninja is fully vaccinated and Rissy Ray is not. And we agree to disagree. Right. So now this is new information of the Pfizer. So the Pfizer was approved for just for authorization from 16 years and up. It was authorized for emergency use for ages 12 to 15. Now the FDA has approved for it to be used between the ages of 5 to 11.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I understand in the economics, because I've taken economics, I understand in the economic view that authorizing the vaccine for younger kids is helpful for the economy, because if kids are basically sent away to school, that allows parents to work. Parents work, make money, and then they spend it. Right. Economics for free. That's a whole semester in 10 seconds?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't like it. I feel an extra level of, hey, I'm an adult and more or less my body's the same. Like, I already went through puberty, childbirth. Like, I'm pretty much how my body's gonna be, and depending on how I take care of it, it's gonna be how it's gonna be till I'm hopefully 100 years old. That's it. But not my baby. My baby don't even have no hair. Like what?
So do you think that this would impact their growth?
Well, Kaninja, the food already conspiracy.
I agree with that one.
Because if you ask an older, women, older generation, their cycle started at everyone's body's different. But I remember meeting people where they said their cycle didn't start till they were 15, 16, 13, up there. You have children who they start their cycle at 8.
Really? I know mine started early. Mine started at 10. But 8.
Oh, look at you, fast tail. Well, I started at 10. How do you like me now?
But 8, geez. Yeah, I really do think that's the food, though, to be honest with you. But as far as the vaccine, do you think that's going to be something similar?
I personally feel, because on some level, COVID, again, it's one of those double-edged swords. If you get sorry, beep. If you get it, you're screwed. If you don't get it, you get screwed regardless. And then I think how they have it set up, the Moderna and the Pfizer, the first shot is to prep you. And then the second shot is hey, all right.
Yeah, this is it. This is it.
This is it. And so, those sorry, I got the giggles now. Terrible. So it's to me, I'm COVID alters your DNA anyway. So, but alter your DNA, and you really haven't been living here, your puberty, you might. We already talked about low sperm count already. Okay.
Right.
So, what are we getting closer to the infertilization of humans?
So, but that's with COVID though.
But you know, get a COVID.
That's only Johnson & Johnson.
So what does Moderna and Pfizer do?
Moderna and Pfizer is only the DNA of COVID. So you're not injecting actual COVID into you. It's just the DNA
of
makeup.
COVID.
Yeah. So
I'm
it's just
learning
like,
something from everybody's.
yep, exactly. It's like you're sending in people or sending in a virus that has the genetic code of what COVID would be. So it's saying, okay, this is what we need to be on the lookout for. And that's what like Moderna and Pfizer are. But like with Johnson and Johnson, it's saying, oh, it's COVID. COVID's in here now.
Sorry. Oh, it's in here. It's in here. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's why the Johnson & Johnson, or at least that's one of the reasons why the Johnson & Johnson is only a singular shot, where the Pfizer and Moderna are 2 shots, because they're different. Gotcha. So, but I get what you're saying, you know, at least when we're talking about like with the virus, it's like a diluted or a dead virus typically, you know, that's being injected into you. So if COVID already changes the DNA, and also there have been studies like you were mentioning, or a lower like sperm count, then I can see what you're talking about with the vaccine. Like, okay, well, if we're starting this even earlier, then what would that do? But I think the Johnson & Johnson hasn't been approved for that yet, right?
You know what? I mean, they be sticking people in it like it's approved, right? They said, hey, you guys, you want 2 shots or 1? I don't like needles. Then come on over here.
One shot.
1 shot, we got you. Then you're like, okay, is this an FDA approved? You said 1 shot, right? The 1 shot is what you need, right? Yeah. Like, that's okay. It, ma'am.
Too
no
late.
more questions, ma'am. Here's your card. Here you go. Here's your card. Here you go.
Right.
But I was like, I mean, because that's just how I feel. Because think about it, right? We're just going younger. So now you're going to tell us, like, I felt uncomfortable with women who were pregnant or breastfeeding getting the vaccine. So at some level, I feel like they're just going to keep younger and younger. They're like, hey, babies of 3 hours plus can get the vaccine. Or like a, you know, I'm talking like a ready to eat formula or something. You know, like something where they're like, hey.
Yeah, and I would expect them to at that point, like at a certain point, because I know even babies, like what, like after a month or so, or after a week or so, they get like certain vaccines already.
Yeah, so my daughter was, there was I don't know what it is, it's terrible, but I said no. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't have time to research it, because, you know, that's not the stuff they prep you when they said, hey, you're about to have it. They don't say, hey, at the hospital, they're going to ask for, if you want to take this, or they're not going to tell you that. Right. But I know I said no. I was like, no, she's fresh out. You know, let me just let her breathe a little of this unfiltered air, you know, just be a little bit free, you know. Be my wild child for a little bit. Right. And then that's when she, you know, got the, you know, the other stuff like the whatever the shots.
The mumps, the measles.
All the shots that, you know, they tell you to get, but you don't do no research and type deal. So I'm just like, how younger are we going to get to the point where you're like, hey, so yeah, as long as your kid is like over 5 pounds, bam. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
but I expect yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kaninja.
Rissy on some stuff today. We're talking about the vaccine. So, but I expect that to happen anyway. You know, so it's getting younger. They're gonna get to that point because they even have a chickenpox vaccine now. We're back in when we were younger.
Chickenpox, just give us the chickenpox. I'm over it now. It's too late. It's too late. Exactly. They should have given it to us 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah. We don't want it. We don't want the chickenpox vaccine anymore. So you can, whoever did it, thank you for all those long, hard hours that you put in away from your family, sleeping, eating, to create a chickenpox vaccine. We don't need it right now. One of those things where it's like, no.
Yeah. I mean, for us, since we already had it, I don't think it will do anything for us.
No, I think I think what, I guess the vaccine, but then does it, you know, the chickenpox vaccine, on some science equals shingles.
That's only, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's only if you haven't had the chickenpox. So if you had the chickenpox, you're more susceptible of getting shingles. And
so maybe that part, we're like, oh, you can bring it back. You bring the vaccine. You bring us back the chickenpox vaccine. Okay, that's okay. We're like, you bring it back now. But I mean, I was just like, because to me, right, because they're pushing all this vaccine and they're making it younger, it makes it harder for like, it's like the whole alternatives that we had last year, they're like gone. Like how it was just kind of like either or, like, hey, get vaccinated or take a COVID test, you know?
Okay, the choices.
Or, yeah, like, and I used to see hand sanitizer stations and gas stations all the time.
Right.
Empty. They're just kind of like, hey. And it's random, it's different areas, you know what I'm saying? But now you don't see those options. They used to, last year was like, a lot of online options for kids for school. Remember, there's so many. Like everybody was like, "We're getting on board. We're gonna do this," which opened another window of issues for like how not everyone has equal access to internet. But that's a whole nother conversation. And don't have that now. Like it's gone. It's like, yeah, there are some schools, but the schools that I see that are online were already online, right? But if you go to your, like, some people's local districts and stuff, they're like, yeah, we had an online option last year, but we got the vaccine, so back to regular school we go.
I see what you're talking about. Because, like,
you know what I mean? So they're not, it's like, because they're like, once they get to that point where I'm talking about fresh out babies, if you're over a certain pound limit or whatever, you getting the shot too. It's just kind of like, hey, we're not gonna offer. There's no alternatives to this.
Right.
Either you get it or you get it.
The choice is less and less. They're not really giving you a choice anymore.
Now, cause remember how with travel, they said at least get vaccinated or have a COVID test. Remember? And now they're just like, hey, you just need to get vaccinated. That's it.
Yeah. So now the people who aren't comfortable with the vaccine, they can't travel, in those certain areas. And then I see what you're talking about, like, and how that can be an issue, because now as it's getting younger and younger, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but the excuses as to not to get the vaccine is getting less and less, but people just need to feel comfortable with getting the vaccine. So if people don't feel comfortable, but now they're feeling like they're being pressured, being forced. I can see what you're talking about. Definitely.
So you tell me I can't go to Jamaica? You tell me I've been making payments on Jamaica since 2019? and I was able to reschedule it because of COVID to 2021, 22. And you said we were all good, and now you're telling me I can't go to Jamaica?
Yeah. Unless you get the vaccine. So it's definitely forcing the vaccine to people who are like, and there's a difference between people who are just not comfortable with it versus people who don't. And as I mentioned before, people who don't know, or who don't care, but the people who are not comfortable with it, it's just, it's hard because you don't want to force them, because then you're like, well, what about my right on my own body? Like, don't force me to inject something into my body, because I have my right to what I put into my body. But now you're making all these other amenities, I guess you can say, services, limited, where you're essentially forcing me to get this vaccine.
You can't even get a job. I was looking at jobs too. I said, "Oh, this is nice. Okay, this is great. This is great. You gotta have it." What? But I'm just doing accounting work. Like, you gotta have it. I'm gonna be by myself. Like, I'm about to do this remotely. Maybe be at the paper. You need it. Yes.
You really have that on like the job application and stuff?
Yeah, some of the places I've been looking at. has been saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't let my boss. I got giggles today, but yeah, like don't let them know. But no, it's like someone saying, "Hey, we got policy. You need to be fully vaccinated if you want to work here, or if you already work somewhere." They're like, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to get vaccinated by such and such time."
Right.
And this whole religious crap ain't gonna fly.
Right. And I definitely have heard that is a lot of people are trying to get religious exemption from the vaccine. But yet we're seeing like the Pope and all these other religious leaders around the world saying the vaccine is not something that you can use a religious exemption for.
Right, so I'm gonna need you to not do that.
Right.
I said, okay.
Right.
He's like, you little bleeps. Like, don't you bring God or anything into this, okay? You just don't want it.
Right. They're just like, there's nothing that says it in our scriptures or, you know, books or anything like that that says that you should not have the vaccine. And so, but going back to that choice, I mean, that's crazy. Like, I can understand saying vaccine or being tested like weekly or something along those lines. Like it was. But that's crazy where that's an actual a requirement is for you to be like that, which in a way is like no one requires you to have the flu shot. But people get it every year, but then no one requires you to get the chickenpox vaccine, the measles or the mumps or any other vaccine. So that's kind of weird how they're requiring you to have this vaccine in order to work.
What you talking about, Kaninja? You hear this? I didn't think about it. You say, like the flu, like people die from the flu more, people die from the flu every year. And when people ask me that, they're like, "Are you gonna get your flu shot?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
It is what it is. But that's interesting because the flu is also contagious.
Right.
And people do die from the flu. Like what you just mentioned, all those are contagious things that are not required. Because I know if for people who are like homeschooled, you don't have to do the whole vaccine record things, like how when you go to public or charter, to other school systems where they say, "Hey, your child has to have these shots." If you homeschool your child and whatever, and then they won't know because you just go to school and then when they go to college, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. And that's just why I just find it weird because like I get why they want people to be vaccinated. Again, like we break room buddies, Rissy and I agree to disagree. Like I get why, but that part just it strikes me as just weird.
Use that smart degree, Kaninja. use that smart degree, Kaninja. So, but I don't understand 2 + 2 = 4. I'm over here like, oh yeah, right.
And so I don't know. I don't like that at all. As far as forcing you, like having those options, and I know I can see for certain occupation makes sense to force you to get your vaccines. Yes.
I can agree with that.
Okay. So but accounting, no, you're in your cubicle or you're at home or whatever the case. Like those don't make sense. Like if you work at a hospital, yes, it makes sense to require you to be vaccinated because you're literally around these people or around people who are immunocompromised, where your whole job is to protect their health. Rissy, as an accountant, her job is not to protect other people's health. It's consideration, but that's not your job. Your job is to crunch numbers.
You said thank you. You said thank you, but so those are the things. Dude.
Right, exactly. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were requiring on a job.
you apply, and I'm just like, hey, y'all not giving nobody alternatives because it's like I said, the younger they're getting, and I get, as a parent, that's just a lot to weigh in. Like, I'm an adult, so of course I'm just like, I'll do that.
Right.
But my little one, like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, and I know there's a lot that goes into just having a whole bunch of vaccines or vaccinations when kids are young or when they're babies. I mean, I heard this was a myth, but there was a train of thought that all the vaccines that a baby is given when they're born, is so much that it could cause autism. And so, which I've heard it was a myth, but that was a train of thought for a while, is that all these vaccines that are impacting the baby could impact them negatively, whether it's their brain or whatever the case, because you're essentially injecting them with these foreign substances, which are spiking their immune system. And of course, there's more scientific portion into it. I'm sure one of our break room buddies can explain that, but I can understand because there's already still some uncertainty around this vaccine, where there's already people that are uncertain about like the measles or the mumps or the vaccines that's been around for 10 plus years. Some people are already kind of like that with their babies, with their kids, where they're unsure. I can only imagine how they would feel with the COVID vaccine. Especially if they don't. Yeah, exactly.
Stressed out because you have, they say, remember how the virus, again, with the news were saying it was only affecting old people. Then it was then they said kids, but not really. Then they said, you know what, everybody can die from this.
Yes.
Just F it, everybody.
Everyone's dead.
And by the way, remember, it was a long period of time between these conclusions, And I'm just like, okay, so if I have a child I don't have a child in middle school, but I'm like, okay, if I have a middle school child who is able to get it, and I choose not, how would I feel she dies from it?
Right.
And unfortunately, that has been a difficult situation for some families because their children have passed away. And they were the person who was, they decided yay or nay.
Right.
They decided nay. Unfortunately, child caught COVID, passed away. And now as a parent, all you're thinking is like, what if?
Right.
That if I'd done it, then at least they would have had something to protect them.
Right.
And I'm like, I hate to make that choice because I'm looking at my baby and I'm just like, she's a grown adult to my eyes. She's an adult. She's been here forever. But it's like, what if something happens to my baby and let's say I had COVID on my clothes, just had COVID on my clothes, and then she gives me a hug.
Yeah.
And she only gives me a hug because why? Because she loves me. I'm like, I got this. That's all. And with your niece and nephews.
I can't imagine.
Those are my kids too.
Yeah.
My kids too.
Rissy's kid's my kid too. Rissy's kid's baby.
She is very baby, and then will sing and say, "Oh, I'm baby." Like,
yep.
So it's just oh my goodness, it's just so much to consider. I've done T-charts, and my T-charts don't work. Not for this. Not for this. This is just very like.
I mean, I think at this point you kind of have to go with your gut feeling because it makes sense. From your side, it's just like, okay, well, you gotta weigh the risk. There is uncertainty on both. Is saying, okay, well, she gets the vaccine. I don't know what that's going to do to her, if it does anything to her in X amount of years. But this uncertainty is, will she catch COVID? It depends on the resulting consequence of catching COVID or the vaccine, is something that I would look into too, because the thing is, it's like, okay, well, if she catches COVID and she doesn't die and everything's fine, because I mean, people have caught COVID and had very minimal symptoms and minimal effects.
Yep.
But there's also the other side is that they have died. With the vaccine, it's still new. relatively new at this point, but it's still fairly new. We don't know what could happen, in the future. And so weighing that option is like, okay, nothing could happen in the future and she's protected, or she's protected now and something could happen in the future. So either way, you're taking a gamble here and you're weighing your risks, and your risks are now or future. And I get it. That's hard. That's a really hard decision to make.
Yeah, so Kaninja, I'm gonna need you to learn how to see in the future and be like, hey, when she goes to that birthday party, that's how she's gonna get COVID. And then
being clairvoyant.
Because that's how you feel. Like you just
yeah.
Like it's just so much you get to consider. And then apparently I think we had a conversation about vaccines, how there's different versions of the vaccine worldwide.
Yep.
It's not just R3.
Yeah.
But then some of them are killing people. they're actually killing, some of them are actually killing people.
Yeah.
Like we're like, oh, what?
Yeah. What's happening?
Like, what happened? I don't know. But that was really what was on my mind this week, Kaninja, was the fact that the vaccine, Pfizer vaccine has been authorized by the FDA for ages 5 to 11.
And I can see why that would be on your mind. Definitely. The only thing that's on my mind with the vaccine is that they're looking at the third booster shot. And I'm like, am I eligible?
Well, yeah, because the booster, like, they first, correct me if I'm wrong, right? At first, I was told, like, the booster is just one, but it was, like, two, like, it was one booster, but it was basically the combination of your 2 shots in that one booster.
Well, I didn't know that. I wasn't really aware of, like, any of the
strength level or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was just another extra shot that was kind of like the second shot.
Okay, so you gonna research to double check me?
Yeah, I'll do some research.
I have no shame in that. Like the booster, I mean, like that's what a lot of people are now getting, the booster. And like I was telling somebody, like, hey, there's no guarantee because I don't know what the window is. So definitely when we talk about this again, you let me know.
Yeah.
But I don't know when the window where like when you get a shot and then you got to get it between a certain period of time before you start all over again. Like that, my next thing is like, hey, what about for people who, they missed that window, right? Or is there a window?
Right.
And if there is, if someone, misses that window, what do you guys do? Like, what are they considered fully at this point? Because technically, for you to have the boot, like right now, you're fully because there's no booster. They didn't mention no booster. They just said, hey, you got to try you're fully. But now, let's say you get the booster, you don't get, let's say you missed it altogether. Are you no longer fully?
Yeah, that's a good point because I looked at my vaccination card and it had an expiration date. So that's a really good point. I have to look back on what the expiration date is, but maybe that's the window. I haven't really heard anybody mention this expiration date, but at least I see on my card, and I have to look back just to be sure. But I did kind of look at it, and I was like, huh, I didn't know this had an expiration date.
I don't think no one did. No. You know what I'm saying? So, like, are you fully, or can you, since that was your third shot that the third shot that you missed, do you have to get which series are you getting back again? Are you getting the first series, or are you getting the second series, or you just need to take the booster twice? Like, what? And now, no. So, okay, because I know we're getting off. I know it's already been 30 minutes. I was told, how the Pfizer, the Moderna both require 2 shots.
Yeah.
They're saying now that they can mix match.
Yes. Like I definitely heard about that too, because it's a similar technology. So it was like, okay, well, since it's still the DNA of COVID, regardless, you can mix and match, which is interesting in its own right. So, Breaker Buddies, let us know what your thoughts are on that. That's interesting.
If I got Benadryl, let me keep taking my Benadryl for my allergies. Do not give me Benadryl and then give me off-brand Benadryl from the dollar store, okay? Right. Don't give me like Benadryl. If I'm not feeling well, I'm suffering from some indoor allergies, and if I've already taken, now I'm not talking about the cocktail. You know what I mean? Like how people take Benadryl plus Clarinet. You know, I'm not talking about the cocktail. I'm talking about just straight up, hey, Benadryl every 4 hours. Now it's another set of 4 hours, and I'm taking not Benadryl. No.
It's more like you take Benadryl and they're trying to get you to take Claritin.
No.
It's the same thing. Just
no. No. I like liquid. I like liquid.
You got your Benadryl right there. So with that, we're gonna go back to work. So we are gonna end with our final thoughts. Rissy.
Yes. I have the giggles today. I love talking to Kaninja. So great topic, Kaninja. Love you bunches. That is something to consider as a parent is, hey, vaccines out, guys, and us unvaccinated people, hey, the options, the alternatives that we have are slowly going away where we have to be vaccinated or make our own little commune, okay? And just being a little nowhere, you know what I mean? We got 5 some work from home jobs, teach our kids, whatever radical stuff I was thinking of. And just, it's a lot of things to consider. That's my 30 seconds.
Thanks, Rissy. So as we love talking to Rissy. Rissy, thank you for this topic. Definitely, she has great topics. Usually she just gives us a topic and I'm like, yes. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is that like, even though I'm vaccinated, I totally understand where Rissy's coming from, especially when they're diminishing your choice on what you want to do for yourself as well as for your child. So definitely, like Rissy said, weigh those options. You know, on the other hand, keep a lookout if you are vaccinated on that booster shot and kind of at that expiration date. You know, so look at the expiration date, do some research. I'm going to do some extra research on what the expiration date really means. You know, maybe it means an expiration date like we have on our food where, you know, it means it's a Best Buy, but, you know, you're still good afterwards. I don't know. So
Best Buy.
Best Buy this date. And then your, you know, antibodies go down. I don't know. But with that, you know, thank you all. Make sure that you are like, comment, subscribe, share on our YouTube channel, and make sure you follow us on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And let us know what your thoughts on this new update on the vaccine. You know, if you have children, what did you decide? You know, and why did you decide what you decided on? You know, definitely we would love to know. And also, if you got the 3rd booster shot, you know, all that stuff, or if you know why there is expiration date. You know, let us know what you guys' thoughts are on all of this. We'll keep you guys up to date periodically on this vaccine. So with that, bye, Raker buddies.
Bye.
Oh, we gotta go back to our work. We totally ruined it. Okay.
Oh yeah. So honestly, we don't care. We're so into our job right now. Like, we wish they would try to fire us. Okay, that's
all right. Well, we already screwed it up. It's okay. We'll do it next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.